All right, so we're going to be going over some lead guitar parts today, and this is very fun for me. I think that this is one of the main things that differentiates rock from pop is these additions of lead guitar parts. And so, yeah, let's go over some. So we're going to start off really simple with the Kinks one, and this is All Day and All Night, a really popular song by them. You guys should know this one. And very garage rock-esque, like their classic stuff. Um, all of this is going to be power chords as well. So if you hear me say a chord name, it's going to be a power chord for this guy. So the first part is going to sound like this, and it's only 3 chords. So So very simple here, starting on a G power chord, so the bum, ba, da, and then you slide down to this F, and then over to a B flat, and back up to that G. And it's also okay to get those little pings in between because this is supposed to be messy, a dirty song, high distortion, that kind of thing. So that's our first form right there. And then we come up to a B flat right here, A, and then a C sharp. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, double this one. And that's kind of your lead in to the chorus here, which starts on a D, comes up to a C, and then to an F, and back down to the C. So it's like... Right, so really simple, and that is literally the entire song. So you have those 3 parts: the verse, the lead-in, that's the, and then chorus. This guy, I really expect you all to be able to do the chords fairly easily. So what I want to focus on is the solo. I don't think the solo is incredibly stellar for this guy, so I'm going to make a backing track for you guys using those chords that you should play along with to learn the song, and then, solo over that for the solo section and make your own kind of deal, and I think that would be healthy for this piece. So the next song we're going to go over here is actually a Who piece called Substitute. We're going to keep with that chord shape theme for now for our lead parts, and these are going to be the only 2 songs that utilize these. So we're still going to be playing chords for this one. This is just a little bit tougher, and this will just be the intro section for this one that we're learning as well. I just think it's a good one, and then also you'll get some brownie points with Evie for learning this one, so it's a win-win. No distortion for this guy. This is going to be a very bright, airy song, and now that I'm thinking about it, I'm actually going to grab my Telecaster for this one. Alright, so I'm back. And let's hear how this riff sounds. So it'll go just like this. So this one, not too hard shape-wise, but just a little quick, okay? So we're going to start off with a major shape. It would be a D major, but we're going to cut off all the bottom notes, so it's just the top 3 strings. So it's almost like a reverse power chord from here to this being on the top E. It'll sound like this. Like that. And then we come down to a D shape in first position, but only playing the top 3 strings again. And you'll notice that for each chord in this little riff, you're only going to be playing the top 3. So it goes from here down there. After that, you come back up as if it's A major shape, but you only play the top three, so it's like this. And then a G major shape, but you only play the top three. And then back to that D. So it would be like the whole thing together. You double this one and double this one. So 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2. Okay? And at speed, it'll sound like this. Right? So that is the introduction for Substitute. The rest of that guy is just chords. So you are I can leave a link to that guy if you want to look up the chords for that one, but the intro is the hard part. Alright, so the next piece that we're going to look at here is Bring It On Home by Led Zeppelin. We're going to be having quite a few Zeppelin pieces here, so just be aware of that. Starting off here in the rhythm position, and this starts off with just a real classic blues standard riff in E. So starting off with just the bottom two strings, your first finger on the second fret there, and then coming down with that third finger on the fourth fret. Just like that, very smooth blues distortion, but still keeping it pretty low. And then every once in a while, you're going to be doing this quick walk up with just a hammer on the bass string, like that, but way faster. So it'll be like. So you do that, and just like you would in a 12-bar blues, come over to the A string. And repeat the same. So that's what the guitar is doing in that portion. Then you have the vocal and harmonica in the background there. And what I'd like you to do is play some smooth blues riffs, improv a little over those places where you would hear the harmonica. Okay, so I'm like that. Right, that kind of thing. Just in between the vocal lines is kind of some extra spice since we don't have a harmonica with us. So I'll be playing the backing for you, and you do that. Now, when it comes to time, there won't be any retard to the rhythm guitar playing, but it'll just hold that, which is open and second finger, and then we switch on to that lead part. Flip into that all treble position, and I'm a very squawky Jimmy Page-esque guitar part for this one, so it'll sound like this. So let's go over that real fast. So we're starting on open A and hammering on with the second finger on the second fret, and then you do the same thing on the D, and then strike the open E. So that same thing. So after you get that down, then you start on the second finger on the G string and start in kind of mid-bend. And then you come off to the 1. And that's why we're playing this with the second finger instead of the first finger. So, and you land back on to the second fret of the D string. So that all together. So the second time you play through it, you stay with your second finger on the G string. It's only the first time through that you, like that. Stay. Switch. Stay. Like that. All right? So you play that a couple times down in first position, and then you come up to the 12th fret and play it. Right? So that's going to sound like this. 12th fret to 13 on the G with your second or first and second finger, and then first finger on B, and then third finger on B. And then you bend on that third finger back down to 1. So it'll get sound like this. So that's kind of that lead guitar part there, and then it comes back to these more raucous vocals. And for that part, you're playing semi chords, I guess lead. So very fun guitar part for this song, and it'll sound like this. And you just do that the 4 times and then go to... So let's go over that. You start it kind of like a D7 shape, but moved up and without the first finger, only striking the B and G strings. And you slide up 1 fret. Just like that. And then when you come back down, it's just these 2 fingers in a row on second frets, same 2 strings. And then first finger on the G string and then an open B. So the whole thing. So after that, you hit this open E, and then third finger, a G there, and then open E. And I like to let the open E ring while I play that top part as well. I just liked having the bass there. And yeah, a lot of squawk for this one, heavy distortion, and you do that 4 times, so it's like this. And then you're back to that blues that we do at the start, flip back into rhythm. And you just finish it out. So, not too bad, but a little more complicated than the first ones we were looking at, so yeah. Alright, so this piece that we're going to learn is going to be the 13th floor elevators don't fall down. Really pretty simple lead piece as well, and it's just going to be 3 main shapes that we've got to know. The Stratocaster should absolutely destroy this piece. I kind of made it to mimic the surfy psychedelic stuff, so it should be right on. Start off with a pretty mellow setting for the intro, and this is going to be kind of mimicking just a bass line, so we want this to be very smooth neck position. what you want to start off by doing is striking the open E and then sliding your third finger up to the third fret of that open E while you do it. So it's like, and back down to open. Up to 3, back down to open. So then what we want to do is mimic, or we want to use that as kind of our foundation for our actual lead part, which is very hot. So switch to that bridge position, and it's going to sound like this. Right. So this one's very cool. I enjoy how the hammer-ons on this one, like, you're using a lot of open strings, but you're playing in a really high position, so it kind of has a pretty large range of notes in a short amount of time, which is cool. So starting off on just an open D, and you want to hammer on to the 10th fret of the D with your second finger. So it'll be like, and then you want to use your first finger to be on the 9th fret of the G, and you want to go right over to that. So, and then back to the 10, and then open to end it. So that's your first chord. Then, after you do that once, you want to slide down to your third finger being on the 9th fret of the D, and your first finger being on the 7th. And you want to do that same picking pattern, where it's open D, hammer on the third finger, go to the first, back to the third, and then open. And then you slide down again another whole step, so it's 7s and 5s this time. Open, 7, 5, 7, and then open back up to 9, 7, 9. So the whole thing slowly. Like that. And at speed, it'll sound like this. So you repeat that a few times, and then we go into our, I guess, verse bridge kind of section. It's odd how this song is kind of comprised, but it's a kind of a variation on a bop, and like Belle and I were working on with the Safaris, where you kind of do that muting. That is definitely going to be at play here. So the rhythm guitar will be doing these chords that are like... So it's important that the top guitar has these very piercing high notes that kind of pop a little bit. So it's like... So let's go over the chords really fast. Not too bad. Starting off on an open D, and you're just doing the arpeggios, so one string at a time. Then to F sharp minor, and then up to G major, and then E minor. And you're back to that D, so it's like this. G, E minor, back to D, G, and on the second time through, you come up to A and kind of finish it off with rapid fire. And you're back to that riff. So starting from the chords, it goes like this. First time through, F, then G, and down to E minor. D, F sharp, G, then A. Lead. And that's all there is to it. Okay, so we are back on the Les Paul here, and we are going to be playing some Zeppelin this time. We're going to be learning Houses of the Holy next, which the song, not the album, which actually appears on Physical Graffiti, funnily enough. And this is how it's going to sound. Back to bridge pickup, by the way, and full distortion. Okay, so that's our intro part. Let's get cracking on it. So we're going to start this guy with almost a big A shape, okay? So you're going to start off barring this first finger across the second finger, or sorry, the second fret, and then you're going to place your second finger on the third fret, C of the A string. So it starts there, you add on that third finger, and then take everything off. When you're playing those first few notes, you're only going to be hitting the bottom two strings here, the A and D strings. So after you do that's when you hit all of that A. Just like that. So there's multiple moves that he does after the initial riff there. So the first time he does two big upstrokes just on that A. That one's the easiest. The second one he does is a little blues riff that's just fast notes along the 4th and 5th fret. The important thing about that, I don't expect you guys to be able to play that one because that's really pretty blistering. End on the A. Open A there, so you can get right back to the... The third one he does is this, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. So it's almost like a variation of the first easy one we do, but it's a little faster. Like that. And then to end it and go into the vocals, he just does a big E. Open E there. So that whole thing will sound like this. Simple. Riff. Three. Big E. So yeah, not too bad, except for just make sure that you're ending on that open A for that guy, all right? The next part of this is the actual vocal part, very pretty, and the chords are pretty easy, especially since we did substitute because it shares a lot of the chords for this one. So it starts off with that D. So he strikes open D, and then the top string cascading down. So it's 4, 1, 2, 3, so D, E, B, G. And then he slides up to this guy here, which is like our G major, but only the top 3 strings. G major. And then he goes down to this A. And then it ends with the big open E's. So it's D, G, A, E, E. And then you're back to the... Back to verse. D, G, A, E, E. D, G, A, E, E. You do that 4 times. So yeah, and if you want to get a little more aggressive and kind of do a little bit of a crescendo, I like to just really vamp on that bottom E, make it really heavy, almost like, I don't know. I guess Jimmy Page kind of is the example for that kind of stuff, but it's a... Right, so a really pretty piece for that guy, and those are the only 2 parts. So even though lead can be intimidating, and it's a little more, I guess, left-hand movement, really, once you learn the portions of a song, it's just as easy as playing chords for this guy. And also, these are some artists that I chose that kind of play both parts in this scenario as well, because there is no backing for Jimmy Page there. He's got to play riffs that are full enough that can, pass as chords as well, which I think is really unique and fun. And yeah, you can see that all of these little riffs are built on chords too.